We talked in class before that in order to be a good professional, it is very important to know the science behind your craft. So being able to understand the science behind how to manipulate different environments to create specific responses within the body is very important. But when it comes to running a business and then be able to craft services out of that knowledge, that's when things become a little difficult for a lot of professionals in our field. So if you have any worries about how to create products, how to create visions, how to sell it to other people, that is the intent of the meeting today. Because I also have to recognize that I've been standing and teaching in front of classes for the past 8 years. So it's been 8 years since I had to do direct selling. So even though I'm still offering a service to my students, I don't really have the direct need to sell that, which is different from a personal trainer, a physical therapist, and any other professions related to our field where you're going to be involved with directly selling your services. So since I've been out of the field for 8 years, and the research and the books and publications about how to become an effective seller have drastically changed over the years, I wanted to have an opportunity to bring an expert that has been in this field actually for more than 10 years. So it's my great pleasure to welcome to our class Fred Moraes. Fred has a vast experience in sales and marketing. He's been doing that again for 10 years. He leads a team of over 1,000 people in coaching and training them in direct sales. He is CEO and founder of his own marketing company called Diamond Marketing. So I wanted to bring him to the conversation, not just because of our close relationship, but I really trust his expertise and knowledge that he can provide to you. So it's my great pleasure to welcome to us our guest speaker, Fred Moraes.
Hey, everybody. It's such an honor for me to be here. Such a pleasure, too. Hey, I'd like to start welcoming you, Chris, Tim, Beth, Kelly, and you two that is watching this recorded, of course, but especially these guys that are here in the classroom with us. Congratulations to be here. I don't say thank you, I say congratulations, because this is something extra and you're putting up the extra effort. So this is something that I acknowledge right firsthand. I'm in Brazil right now, so I hope that I cannot get confused with the English. I speak English for a long time right now, but I haven't practiced this year with the pandemic status of the world. So I hope I can actually provide something that can do a little transformation, but a positive one in your day-to-day life, in your business especially. I would be very, very happy in the end of the class if I can get these results.
So to kind of kick things off, I'm going to be acting no longer as your teacher for this class, but a little bit of your host for this interview, being kind of the middleman here between you guys and Fred. And I wanted to start, Fred, by just having a little bit of time for you to tell us about your story. How come that you are involved in marketing and the research of sellings? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Perfect. To begin with, I always consider myself, and this is the story that I tell everywhere in the world that I go. When I teach and when I speak, I do actually public speaking as well, in sales training and in coaching and everything. And every time I tell my story, people get a little confused about how I got to sales, because I'm considered the ordinary guy. I'm the ordinary guy who was taught by the parents and the mentors in the early ages that should study a lot so you can get to the good college and graduate and get a good job, and then you can grow in your career so you can have a good payments and a safe life, and you can retire. So most people are still being educated like that. So I'm the ordinary guy. I am what everybody is in terms of education. And I became an engineer. I'm an engineering. I graduated engineer. I also have a master's in engineer. So I started this path in my career, the traditional one, working for great multinational companies here in Brazil. So I had more than 5 years experience in working for a lot of multinational companies, and I grew really, really fast in these companies as an engineer. So I was promoted 2 years in a row. My paycheck was growing, but I always tell everybody about the moment that moment of decision. I grew until the moment that I wasn't growing anymore, and I lost a little bit perspective in my corporate career. I realized that to get to my boss's position, it would take me around 20 years to do that, so I can finally have a paycheck of my dreams, which with inflation and everything nowadays is not exactly a dream paycheck anymore. So I started to have a big why, a big question mark in my head. So okay, what should I do? What can I do to change my status, to change my perspective, to improve my future? And I started looking to open my own businesses, but I didn't have experience. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anything to guide me. So I Googled it. How can I start my own business? And the answers that I got were not satisfactory. I was not satisfied with the answers. I just saw things that was really, really expensive for me to build. I had no experience. I need maybe a corporate building to put my store in, maybe a franchise, but the royalties were so high. So I was getting a little frustrated. And then I put my dreams aside and I said, okay, I'll just stay in my job. That's okay like that. Until a friend of mine invited me to a meeting that I didn't understand exactly what the meeting was, but I liked the product that he was showing. And then I got to this meeting where I saw a different business model that actually fit me. So I could start my own business in parallel of my job. And that would be in sales. And in the beginning, I was really scared of doing that because I never sold anything in my life. I was the type of guy that say, "Oh, this is not my type. I'm an engineer. If you give me like a glass of really cold water in the desert, I couldn't sell that. That would be really hard for me. I could actually give it to someone, but when it comes to the part that I need to charge the money for it, I would be like, no, no, that's okay. You can take it. So that's me when I started my own business. But I had a vision, and I saw that this vision could be bright for me in the future if I continued through this path. And that was happening. My business started like skyrocketing in a year, so I could choose to fire myself and work fully a full-time job in my own company. And I've been doing this for the last 10 years.
No, that's a great journey because we're talking about a lot of things that we may share, even though we are kind of, if you wanted to say, different fields, right? So engineering meets exercise science world, but we sometimes feel the need of being that we have a product, we know our trade, but we're never put in a position to sell. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a market. So this idea when we jump into the field, we don't feel comfortable making that sell. And I know that from my personal experience that I'll add here. The first time that I was meeting with a couple of clients and we're having great conversations and we have a pretty good idea what we wanted to do. And then we just kind of stare at each other. And they were waiting for me to make the sale, but I just couldn't. I was in my mind. I was afraid of it. I didn't know how to approach it. And then I said, okay, thank you for the conversation. See you around. So many sales opportunities were lost because of the fear of being able to sell your product. And one of the things that you mentioned that I think offers the perfect transition to the first question that I have for you as a group here. You mentioned having a vision that guides you. And we know that the vision is not necessarily about the product that you sell, but the reason why people should have that product. And in class before, we have addressed this idea that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Of course, coming from Sinek's golden circle. So what are your thoughts on this idea of the golden circle and the application of it to your own business?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And this approach has completely changed my business. And if someday I get the opportunity to talk to Simon directly, I would say that I have a 2.0 version of the Start With Why that he wrote, which is the book. Obviously, there is a book. People only see the YouTube video, right? But but this changed completely my business because it took away that fear or insecurity sensation that you just described, because you're not there to close a deal, you're there to change the world, and that's completely different. And what helped me in this 2.0 version of Simon Sinek is I always tell my team, not only have a why, but sell your why. Most successful people, when they are public speaking, they say that you need to have a why, that you need to write down your mission, but rarely people do that. And why? This is a question that I made myself. Why people don't do what the most successful people tell them to do and actually say that is an important part of their success? And the reason that I got most people don't do it because they don't know how to apply it. So this is the main reason why I'm here today. So I can tell you guys how to apply your purpose. And by my experience, what I understand is that you don't sell to people who like you. You sell to people who believe in what you believe. And you shouldn't have the expectations to sell it to 100% of the people. And this is one of the reasons of frustration first time regarding selling, because you get a lot of no's, but you get an even more amount of no's if you are prospecting the wrong people. But you think, oh, my product is for everybody. So you want to prospect everybody, you want to sell to everybody. But you don't sell to everybody. You don't sell even to people who like you. You only sell to people to believe in what you believe. So my first question is, what do you believe? What do you believe that is something that you really add value to people's life? What kind of positive transformation are you taking to people's homes through your service? What mission are you in? How are you going to change the world one person at a time? Once you have these things really clear in your head, once you have written it down, it will become a lot more easier for you to sell. Because when people say, I'm afraid of selling, or like the situation you described when you're just staring at each other between you and your customer, people are not actually afraid of selling. They are afraid for asking. You are afraid of asking someone to give you the credit card. You are afraid of closing, which is a step in the sales process. But once you have your why really well defined and you're selling it to the world, then you're putting much more weight in the beginning of your sales funnel. And once you have much more weight in the beginning, you're making a major filter. You're attracting someone that believes in what you believe. Then the closing part will be natural, will be just a consequence, because people already bought your idea in first place. So this is how you apply it. Instead of talking about your product or service, you need to start talking about your why when you're prospecting someone. Nobody sells products. You only sell benefits.
And I think that what you're saying here resonates pretty well with the experiences, and hopefully is resonating with your guys' experiences as well. Uh, and without losing my train of thought here, I've read in a couple of different books, but one was pretty clear to me when I was this entrepreneur, a technological entrepreneur. And he said that when he created his first company, he thought that establishing vision, missions, and goals were people that didn't know their product. And then his first company failed. So this idea that we have that we are obsessed with the product goes back to students in the class here, to what we address and why I keep repeating in our presentations. Why is exercise selection last? Why is it that exercise is the last thing that you do in your program prescription? Because the exercises are what? Those are tools that you use in pursuit of a bigger why. So with that in mind, Fred, now that we have this idea that it's important for us to establish vision, missions, and goals, in a field where exercises are touted as our service, you can get a good exercise on YouTube. You can get a good exercise by joining a group training. So how is it that maybe some strategies, and it's okay to do a little repetition from some of the concepts that you spoke just briefly, because I think those are important items. What are some of the strategies that you can translate your purpose into a service?
Perfect. When we talk about uh, any profession, and I can put engineer as well in this conversation, we are taught that we need to be experts in our field. So we only study and focusing on the process that we are doing, the process that regards our job, right? But we forget that to make this, how can I say, feasible, you need the business part of it. Otherwise, how can you exercise someone if this someone is not there? So what it lacks when we are studying and getting the knowledge that you need is that you also need to get business knowledge, which includes sales knowledge. So these are all what's, they're not the why, but this is important for you to get this understanding that how can I communicate what I do? And what are the benefits of what I do? You said people can get training everywhere. I can get training right here. This is probably your biggest contestant right now, right? So I can get an app that can give me the training anytime I want. Why would I buy a service from you if you don't have something that I believe as well? You will not sell from me. So this paradigm about just selling the product, it needs to be changing. So you understand what benefits and transformation you are generating with your product or service. But this is important as well because salesperson, the most successful salesperson, they are not these annoying people that are always going around against chasing people to sell something. They are not. The best salesperson you know probably are people who add value to your life, especially with knowledge. They are educators first. So how are you educating your audience? How are you educating your prospecting, your possible customers? How are you adding value to them? That's the time that you're going to use your knowledge, the exercise, and everything. But if this is not connected to a higher purpose, then people don't understand the value. People don't understand how this exercise that you're doing right now is connected to a higher purpose, to a higher benefit that you're solving. And what happens is people are so, how can I say, focused on getting the sale that they only look at the end of the process and they are only looking at, okay, I need to make a sale, I need to make a sale, I need to make a sale. And this is the mother of frustration because in most time you want. So what a great piece of advice that I can give you that really changed the way that I'm selling and improving my results is change your focus. Instead of focusing only on the end result that you're getting, try to focus on the process that you're doing. And what type of a process are you doing? How are you approaching people? What are you talking to them? How many people are you talking in a day? These are the variables that you should be controlling, not if you're selling or not.
And I like this because it goes to the idea that you need to fall in love with the process and the results will happen. And I think
I don't need. You don't even need to fall in love with it, because you probably are in love with giving the training, not selling. But you need to control the variables correctly. So instead of controlling the variables only in the end result, that means sale or not sale, you should control, okay, did I talk to 10 people today? Because this is a variable in the end, in the middle of the process. Did I pitch my business to 10 people today? Because if you do pitch your business for 10 people a day, you probably will sell like one or two a day, which is amazing.
So I'm going to take the opportunity here because I'm seeing some opportunities here for us to kind of take our conversation to the next level. First, kind of summarizing a little bit of the thoughts that we have described so far. When it comes to being less fearful of selling your products, remember that you're not selling a product. Or in this case, you're not selling exercise, but you're selling a purpose. You're exercising for a reason, right? So why is it that I should exercise with you versus YouTube? Because you can sell a purpose while YouTube only sells the what. It's similar conversations to what I have addressed in class when we're talking to our clients, that they're going to tell you what they want. They want to lose weight. They want to feel better. But they don't necessarily have a clear idea of why those are important for us. So this is where you can create some value for the differentiating factor between you and an app. You can help people discover their purposes by engaging with your services. So that addresses one of the first things that you can do to feel less fearful when it comes to approaching sales of potential clients. What I'm going to move on next is kind of piggybacking on these concepts and taking things a step further, but at the same time starting a transition to an open forum. Because the last question that I have scripted here is, what are some of the advices and strategies you can share for those who are afraid, hesitant, or concerned when it comes to selling their services for others? But then I also have a question from a student that said, for example, I have never really liked sales or marketing within a job. Personally, it scares me. What are some thoughts on how to deal with anxiety and nerves while trying to make a sale?
Perfect. This is actually really and pretty common. So to the student that made this question, I want to say to you, I understand how you feel, and that's okay. But I have a theory of my own that I want to share with you guys. To me, the person who says that they are not sales person and they put this emotion that they are afraid and everything, these are the best salesperson I know, because they are selling it with such a conviction. They believe so much in what they're saying. They put so much emotion on it that people around buy this concept from them and avoid putting them in positions that they need to talk to people. So they achieve the end result, which is to avoid talking to people. They are the best salesperson ever. This is obviously a joke that I'm making, but uh, you understand the concept of a good sales. First of all, sales is belief. If you don't truly believe in what you're saying, then it's going to become even harder and harder for you to go through the process. And that's why, coming back to everything that we were saying before, the why is important. You need to sell something that you actually believe in it, that you actually use it, that you actually apply in yourself. You need to be a product of your product, first place. And secondly, though, you need to be on a mission, right? So this example that I told you will complement the thing that I said about the change of focus. One thing that will avoid the anxiety and the frustration of a lot of people is that they are focusing on the end result. They just are focusing on the sale. So they are so scared of not having it, of failing in it, that they don't even try. And with my experience, what I see is that people actually like the sale. What they don't like is parts of the sale process that can face rejection or criticism. And this is the thing that you're trying to flight away from, like in the fight or flight decision that we're making. So how can you avoid having this type of situations in your life so that you won't be afraid of being criticized or rejected? You do that by putting more weight on your why first. And then when it comes to the closing part, the natural part, when the rejection might come or not, that's okay if you're rejected, because if you are, that means that person was not your ideal customer. He doesn't believe what you believe. But you need to stand out. You need to step up and position yourself as an expert in that area with that belief, with that mission. And that will simplify the whole process. Is what I'm doing here is like, can I draw a little bit? I think I have the draw tool here in
I
Zoom,
made you
right?
co-host, so you should be able to.
What I'm trying to, for you to understand, I try to illustrate that because illustration is always better, right? This is a typical sales funnel, right? So you're attracting people here in the base and you're trying to move them through your funnel. And what people do when they are doing the sales process is that they put the same weight in the different parts of the process. Let's say that here you are getting a list, attracting people. Here you are presenting your service, your product, and here you're closing. What I'm saying is that when you understand your why, you have a mission and all those things that we already talked and discussed today, the weight here is going to increase a lot. You're going to put so much more weight here in the beginning, but you don't need this weight here. This will be natural. And if you change your posture from this stereotyped salesperson that nobody likes to a consultant, then the closing part will be natural. Because the best salesperson in the world, they are consultants and they are educators. What you need to do to increase the weight in the first part of the funnel is not only have your why really well determined, but also become interested in people. Because the best salesperson in the world, they are actually solving people's problems. So how will you solve a problem that you don't know that exists? You need to make good questions. You need to understand. You need to listen, not just make a question and wait for the people to answer for you to answer right anything that is in your head that you want to say, but actually listen, actively listening, so you can really understand what this person or everyone that you're talking to is going on, and you can connect the benefit that you're selling to the problem people have. And you say, okay, I think you qualify for my program. When people are selling, they think that they are going after customers, but I have a different approach. I recruit my own clients. I say if they are qualified to my product or not. So this is a different, this is a, how can I say, we are breaking paradigms here, but I rather have a customer who is really fit for me, who will talk good about my service, who will be an example and will bring up especially the great results that I say that I can provide to someone, than to have someone that will just complain about my service and talk bad about me all the time. This is the type of people that I try to avoid. And you can avoid that in their selection, which is the sales process.
One thing that I keep thinking about is this idea of perceptions. And the perceptions that we have is that we should be afraid of selling. And it becomes a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I never sell, I'm going to be bad at selling, therefore you will be bad at selling. But I think that based on conversations here, we can expand even that beyond when we're looking at perceptions, right? Right now, we live in a world where no pain equals no gain, and you want immediate results. We live in a field that we know that no pain, no gain is not always the right approach, at least not to start. And we know that we live in a field where we are working out today for results that you're going to see not only tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, but actually in a couple of weeks down the road. So how do you bridge that gap on the service that you are providing doesn't match that idea of no pain, no gain? So when you're meeting with the clients, how do you close that bridge? At the same time, that there are some clients that when you meet with them, they're already having the perception of their own. It's easy for this person. Look at them. They're really fit. They're going to tell me to eat this. They're going to tell me to exercise this. They're basically going to tell me everything that I already know, and I'm just waiting for them to ask for a sale. So there's perceptions that is being made on both ends, and being able to kind of put those perceptions upside down seems to be a good place to start, and it seems that education, active listening are strategies that we can do to do so. I don't necessarily have a question in the end of this. I'm just going to try to summarize my thoughts based on the things that I heard from you and also to the students. So at this time, for you guys that are here, I'm going to open the room for you guys to ask any questions directionally to Fred. And if you don't have any questions right now, I do have a list of other questions that I gathered from other students. But given that you are here, I want to give priority and the floor to you guys to ask any questions directly.
What you did was a great addition, actually, because I just want to open a parenthesis here for neuromarketing and neurosales. You guys understand the body a lot more than I do, okay? So if I say anything wrong, I'm sorry. You can correct me. But we understand that we have different parts of the brain. We have the new brain, the neocortex. We have the reptilian brain, which is our primitive brain. And what neuromarket has discovered throughout the years with a lot of research in the brain is that the decision-making part of the brain is actually our primitive brain, which is connected to emotions. So when you said oh, no pain, no gain, and all those statements that people have in your field of expertise, my question is, how can you get people emotional? That means cause a reaction if you're trying to say that no pain, no gain is actually not true. So you cause a reaction in someone, you call their attention. Now you need to put up a strategy for you to show people how to do that, and that is educating. So you need to educate people on what you believe. And this is a very practical of resume of what we are talking about here. So you have your why, you have your beliefs, everything. You are selling your why. You are positioning yourself. Now you are raising a few flags saying, I'm that guy, I'm defending that cause. You can call the attention of a few people if you do that in a way that calls the attention, like I said, like intriguing people and saying things that they, oh, do you understand that? Oh, you have ever in your life heard that this is wrong? And then people, okay, what is this guy talking about? What is this girl talking about? And then you will try to put all your arguments on that, educating people, and that's already your how, because you already attracted these people to talk to you. So you need to talk to emotions. You need to make people understand, because sales is not like how can I say, you're, oh my God, you're not an attorney trying to defend a cause. You're more like a psychologist trying to reach people's emotions. So this is what you're doing when you're selling your why. You're provoking an emotion. You're taking people to a few places. You're making them visualize, which is also a very important technique in sales, visualization of which is going to be the end result of this. So this is just a summary of things that we are talking here and try to put them in place.
And again, I like that because it's always important for us to kind of digest and take a step back, not only have this knowledge, but how can I apply it to my own life currently or in the future. And again, guys, this is where, we have the reminder of the conversation with Fred to be more of like an open discussion. Again, I do have some pre-recorded questions here from other students. You can place a question on the chat if you like, or at this point in time, also feel free to ask a question directly to Fred.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, Chris.
First, primero de todo, obrigado pelo su tiempo.
Look at this. I love it.
Great Portuguese.
Thank you. The question that Daniel read was actually my question. Kind of on the basis of it, I've never really been one to sell anything. I've been a coach for youth soccer for 15 years, so I've already been able to put myself out there and obviously deliver a product of coaching soccer that I've done for so long. I just don't know how to translate that to now going into a personal training field to sell something to receive something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand it.
I guess I'm just nervous about putting myself out there and then obviously getting rejected and or not being successful down the road.
Perfect. When I in the beginning of our conversation, I said sales is belief. So the first thing I need to ask you, do you really believe that you can bring great results to anyone that will be coached by you?
I would like to think so. Yes.
This is not strong enough for me, Chris.
Right, of course. I saw that coming.
It really starts with belief. Let's do a different approach. I've been to Minnesota a few times, obviously. My brother lives there. Can you tell me a restaurant that you like there?
No.
You don't like any restaurants in your area?
No, well, pretense. I've only been here for 2.5 years, so I can't really. Yeah, I'm from Connecticut, from the East Coast. So I've been out here in Minnesota for 2 years.
So if I visit Connecticut,
yeah,
and I wanted to have a dinner. Do you have some place that you can tell me
I
about
can
it?
direct you to the best pizza place in the world.
The best. I love pizza.
Yeah.
What, so what's the name of this restaurant?
So it's a place in New Haven, Connecticut, which is super famous. And unfortunately, I forget the name of it right now, so don't hold me against me.
Don't worry about it.
But it's super 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 good, and it's one of the best on the East Coast actually. So yeah.
Nice. And what's your best favorite flavor?
Oh man, there's too many it's such good pizza. There's too many to choose from, but they have a really good Mediterranean pizza. Delicious.
Mediterranean.
Oh, so delicious.
Nice.
Thank you for making me hungry, guys.
You got it.
That's it. You're already teasing emotion. You made Daniel hungry. But that's not difficult. He's always hungry. But did you see how you told me about the best pizza place in the world? Your physiology changed immediately. I think the other guys can agree with me. Because you are pretty safe about what you're saying. You have a really strong belief about this place. And you probably had great times there. And you can see that. So once you can bring up this to your business, it will help you a lot. But there is an addition here, and that's the catch. You are not worried if I'm going to the pizza place or not. I can change my mind. I can choose to eat hamburgers for some reason. So you are not focused on the end result. It was not mandatory for you to make the sale. You're just enjoying the process of talking to me about this great pizza that you love. So this is the same approach that I suggest you to put on your business. Stop trying to focus on the sale and start focusing on talking to people with a big smile on your face and this core belief that you have a great offer for them, that you have a mission. And I don't know what your method is. I don't know what your what is. I don't know if you're connecting your soccer experience of what we are doing today, but you can use that. You can use your story because fact sells, story sells. And this is how we connect to people's emotions, is talking and telling people stories. So how many stories do you have today that you know by heart that you're telling to your possible customers about people who transformed their lives because of you or because of your product or services? And you will see that will be a lot more light approach. So you won't need to be nervous about the closing part once you're talking to people who are already connected with you. And again, as educators that we are, yeah, at this point, we are already educators, okay? Consultant and educators that we are, we need to teach them the step by step. Your customer doesn't know what to do to close with you. You need to teach them. So you can talk to someone and say, okay, did you like the approach? Did you like what we're saying? Are you ready to start? Okay, for you to start, you need to do this. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Are you okay with that? That's it. That's closure. Step 1, step 2, step 3 is how you close someone, how you get the payment and everything. And this will be natural once someone already bought your idea. That's why I said I need to talk to Simon Sinek about the 2.0 version of Start With Why, because you're selling your why all the time. This is what I teach my team.
Thank you for that info, Fred. It does make a lot of sense. Being just me saying, or not selling, but saying and talking about a story with a smile on my face instead of trying to focus in and harness a sale when you just need to be yourself.
Yeah, take that giant piano in your back and throw away. This giant piano means responsibility of selling. And this means that you're only focusing on selling, and put the weight of that in your numbers and the variables that you can actually control. And put that in your heart, man. You will not sell to everybody. But once you find the people who believe in you, you will have a community. you will do a movement. And this is something that a lot greater than just selling a coaching session.
And I'm wanted to pinpoint here on Beth's comment, because there is one thing that I wanted to address here about emphasize the importance of being yourself. Because if you're trying to act as, I'm going to go back to my idea of perceptions, because there's a certain way that the client is expecting you to act. You are a personal trainer. You're going to talk about this. You're going to talk about that. So they have certain expectations of what's going to happen in that session. And a lot of times you may talk to people in the role of the personal trainer, but not as the person, Daniel. And I think that shows when you're trying to be a role rather than you're trying to be a person. And Fred, your experiences on that, I think it's pretty clear when people know that you're not being genuine. Even though you may not come out in your talking, there is multiple ways that we communicate with others. And when we are not being genuine about who we are, people can tell.
And transparency sells. There are so many people that are not transparent in the sales process. And customers knows that. So don't be afraid of being extremely transparent and to tell them everything that you're going to do and everything that you're not going to do, and how can people benefit from that, and how the process works. So many people are afraid, and I'm sorry, I have to talk in a more generic way here because I don't really understand the details of your business, but so many people are afraid that if they open up the details and the little secrets that they are doing, then maybe people will not buy from them. And this is a complete myth. So be transparent, show them that you can actually have really, really great value to add to their lives. And then you will obviously connect with even more people. The whole thing is about connection. If people don't connect with you, they will probably not buy from you.
I'm going to take that opportunity, Fred, to ask one of the questions that another student posted about connection. And we know that we're living in a pandemic world where we have moved online. And the question here is, how do you keep the interpersonal skill with your clients if you're meeting with them online?
I have a really strong statement that I teach my team in online sales training that I give. And for some reason, and this is also something that I'm trying to understand a little bit better, but for some reason, when people are behind keyboards, they transform themselves. They're not them. They think they're allowed to do a lot of things that in the end of the situation, you will be that annoying person that nobody's going to be. But maybe because your idea of selling is that this is what you're doing, but once you can't do face-to-face, you're doing behind keyboards. The thing that I say to my team, this strong statement, is that do online whatever you're doing offline. The online, offline, this is just the mean. The process should be the same. Doesn't matter if you're doing online or not. If you're chatting or sending audio, I don't care. You should have the same approach. Obviously, when you're chatting, you will need to improve a little bit. Put some emoji, some smiley faces. You need to get connection. I always answer someone with a positive response before I ask a question. Because when I'm prospecting, I'm doing a lot of questions because I need to understand the problems of the people that I need to solve. So when I'm asking people questions and they are answering, the first thing that I do after an answer is not a second question. I do a positive statement. I say, okay, great, that's awesome, and put an emoji. So you can connect with people in so many different ways. But the main principle is do online whatever, do online everything exactly the way you're doing offline.
I think that's a good approach to it. And as we approach here the top of our hour, so we have until 12:30. Again, I have some other questions that I can ask, but I wanted to give you guys here an opportunity to ask questions directly to Fred, anything that we've been talking about so far. So the floor is open to you guys once more.
There is one thing. Tim, you have a question, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so really we're just trying to, when we're selling ourselves and we're selling our feeling, and we're trying to find the feeling in our potential customer, and that's what we're trying to attach to is a feeling. Is that kind of how I'm understanding this?
You can say that, yes, because feeling is what people are buying, right? The decision making comes from emotions. So I can say that, yes. But your question was perfect to the addition that I was going to make before, is that we are talking about a lot about us, about our why and our pitch. And but what about your customer? Do you guys have a ideal customer, what we call persona, really well described? The question is, who are you helping? Who's this person? Oh, I help everyone. No, no, you don't. Who's that guy? Who is that girl? It needs to be very clear for you. Who are you adding value to? Who are you connecting with? And this will be a, how can I say, this will be something that will get your process even stronger because you will connect with the right people. Obviously, you will attract different people once you do this, once you design your persona. But this is as important as describing your why. Because you once you understand who are those people, what they see, what they hear, what they feel, what kind of situation are they going through in their lives, then you can actually tell them how this positive transformation that you're selling can impact their lives. And this is regarding feeling, in first place, of course, because everything they see, hear, talk, and feel, this will all generate thoughts, and thoughts generate feelings, feelings generate actions. So you should also make an exercise, and this is a really strong suggestion, that you should describe your business persona or personas. You can have more than one. But once it's clear for whom you're selling and whose problem you're solving, then you will have a more accurate approach and will be even lighter and lighter this process of closing the deal because you're just talking to the right people.
Right. Yeah. So not everybody is going to be a sale, like you say. It's like if I go out and talk to 10 people, I might get 2 sales that day. So you just have to deal with the rejection. But I think something just came to me as an epiphany. And I think, Daniel, maybe you'll agree, but maybe actually, I think what we really are selling in our specific industry is a feeling. We want people to feel good. We want people to feel confident. And we want people to feel healthy, right? So maybe that's actually, the feeling is what we're selling. And if we can get somebody to grasp or want that feeling, then maybe that's what it is that we're trying to sell.
Maybe this is not what the industry is selling, but this can be what you are selling, Tim. And you will connect with people because of that. And you can raise that flag and say, I'm selling feeling. And people will say, what? Yeah, I will help you feel good. I will help you feel thin. I will help you feel young. I will help you feel, and you can put whatever feeling that you think that you can bring to people's lives. And how do I do that? I do that because I'm starting a movement called Let's Feel Good.
And I'll expand quickly on this, Tim, because not only I agree 100% with what you said, I just wanted to add one more thing, that we're adding the sustainability of the feeling. So actually we are selling a lifestyle of this feeling, because a lot of times, again, with the perception, people use exercise as a short-term solution to a long-term problem, where we should be selling the long-term solution that can be sustainable. Rather than creating dependence, we are, to Fred's point before, we're educating. So I think you nailed on the head on the fact that yes, we are selling a feeling, but I think it's also important for us to identify that we are selling the sustainability of the feeling.
But can I put a business vision on this discussion? And of course, Daniel, you're the teacher, and I don't want to diminish your authority here, but
I'm muting you.
But the fact that you guys are disagreeing, that's awesome. That means Tim has some customers and you have others, and that's okay. He will sell to people that believes in what he believes. You will sell to people who believes in what you believe. And this is the part that I'm talking to you guys. You need to differentiate yourselves by the value that really you are adding to people's lives. So if he wants to sell feeling, amazing. People will connect with that. But not everybody. Maybe you won't. And that's okay. And when you talk to 10 people and selling to 2 team, this is not rejection. This is spreading the word of your mission, because the other 8 will say, oh, this is not for me, but I think we would like Tim. You should talk to him. He has something different. He's selling feeling.
You know, not only I think that is an extremely fair point, you made me kind of check myself, because I do have my own vision. My vision is empowering individuals to make the correct decisions rather than trying to impart my vision onto them. So that is a great point. That is my job, not to create 5 different Daniels, but create the new Tim, or the number 1 Chris of the first Skelly and the unique Beth. So that is, I think, not only that was a fair argument, and I don't mind disagreements. I enjoy discussions. So I welcome that feedback, because it goes back to my vision. My vision is not to impart my vision, but to educate individuals to achieve their own. So I like that. We have 5 more minutes here, guys. Probably room here for one more question, so we can be respectful not only of your time, but also of Fred's time. So I'll finish with one. I don't know if we can answer this in the short time, but Fred, it has to do about discounting your services. And I think that we already addressed some of this, because you shouldn't be focus on the sales. But I've seen this in the field many times, where it was a personal trainer trying to meet their quota in the end of the month, so they're discounting their services left and right. And it does really happen. 2 clients of the same trainer were talking in the cafeteria of the place that I used to coach, and they were talking to one another, and somehow the price of the sessions came up. And these 2 clients having the exact same services, one was paying this much, the other one was paying this much. And it was, of course, a point of, it was a sore point for the one that was paying more. And he actually requested that the trainer refunded him the difference. So what are your thoughts about discounting services?
Black Friday is coming. Woohoo! Guys, please understand that you'd rather give prizes and bonuses than discounts. And every time, since we have a few minutes, I will say that to you. This is something that really helps me. Every time you are in doubt in something about a salesperson, remember yourself as a customer. And this will help you. What I say is that you have anchors in your mind, and prices are great anchors in your life. For example, I live in Brazil, which is a country that suffers a lot more than US with inflation. And sometimes I go to the supermarket and I surprise myself with the price of a few items, which are extremely higher than what I remember with. That means I have an anchor in that price. So the last thing you want to do is destroy your anchor price, because the anchor price is always going to be the lowest one. And if you give discounts today, it's going to be really, really extremely hard for you to go back to your normal price. Then the discount is going to become your new normal. Unless you do something different, change the services or anything like that, which will give you a lot of work to do. So I'd rather you giving some prizes, some bonuses, maybe, I don't know, record an online class teaching people the right posture of the exercise and said, okay, for this Black Friday, the price is the same, but you get these bonuses. Instead of changing your price. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer a lot. So add more value to the same price, but don't reduce your price. Otherwise, the anchors change, and it's going to be very hard for you to change that again. And you as a customer have the same anchors. If Chris goes back to Connecticut and that pizza place is the double the price that he used to pay, I don't know if he's going to buy that pizza.
Probably still will. It's delicious.
But you are a raging fan. Most
True.
customers will complain and probably go to the different pizza place in town, which may also be very good. but not as good or as famous. But you have an anchor in your mind. So careful, because one sentence that I really like a lot, and I think sales and leadership are really connected to each other, because leaders are selling vision in first place. But everything starts and ends in leadership. So if you're leading your own business, you can start anything you want, but also end anything you want. So careful with the things that you start, because everything is creating culture in your business. So if you start a culture of discounts, you will never add really value to people's lives.
Go ahead. So right now, 12:30. Fred, if you have a little bit more time, seems like Tim has one quick question for us before we go.
It's okay.
Okay, it's on the same point as discussing prices and discounts. Actually, that was going to be one of my other questions. So like, let's pretend I'm selling my service at like $80 an hour, and I'm at the end of the month, and I'm trying to get more customers. So instead of trying to sell somebody for like 50 a session, maybe what I try to do is sell like, hey, would you be interested in buying a 10 pack? And then I could offer you a free class of something unrelated, or maybe find something else that they're interested in. Something like make a bulk package instead of a reduced rate.
Yes, you can do something like that. That will add value to you. And also you need to remember, everything creates a culture, right? So if you have customers paying $80 an hour and they want to pay 50, and they complain about someone that is paying 50, you say, okay, but he bought a package. Do you want a package for yourself? And if you are willing to sell this package to everyone, then you can have it. So everything creates a culture. If this will give a positive consequence to your business, yes, this is something that you can do. The problem is when you get the same thing that you're selling to someone and sell it to another person with a discount. But these are different things.
And to add to this point here, Chris, that's the strategy that I used. I never discounted my sessions, but I did offer packages. And I wasn't charging little, I was charging 89 a session. So what I was charging was the purpose. But if you wanted a quote unquote discount, there is no discount, but there is bonuses for buying in packages.
And the bonuses cannot be just free classes. You can be creative here. The more value that you add, the better. So you can give a free class, or maybe in the package, the unit price will go down, but you can also put an extra something that you can give.
Right. So with that here, guys, I know that this discussion, of course, we always have to end when things are getting really good and we're getting a little bit comfortable with one another. But again, I try to be very respectful of your time. I wanted to thank you guys first and foremost for attending this additional class outside of class. So thank you for coming, giving us your time, your thoughts, and your questions and your feedback. And of course, at the same time, I wanted to thank Fred for his presence today and sharing a little bit of his time and expertise with us on how to improving you as a professional in the future, adding now to the knowledge specific to your field, now adding a little bit of how to handle your business. Fred, if you have any parting words, we will end with that.
No, thank you for your time. This hour flew by. I was just getting started. We have so much more to cover, but to end this, I never like to finish a training session or a public speaking, and whenever I do it, just like that. I like for you guys to take something with you. So for this to be productive, I suggest that you guys write down like at least 3 things that you learned today and choose one to apply it today. If you apply something, then I definitely did my job here and I'll be happy today.
So more homework. But this one is a good homework.
This is money attracting homework. This is good.
Can't complain about it.